Louis Patron back with the Key West Lou Legal Hour. Thank you for joining me this morning. Before the break, I was talking about the poor, how the poor are poorer and the rich richer, the haves have more and the have-nots less, and about food stamps. They keep cutting them back when more and more people are on food stamps and food is more expensive. And I mentioned Governor John Kasich of Ohio, a former congressman, very smart fella. I admired him during his years in Congress. I don't agree with a lot of things he attempted as governor, but he got shot down by the people. And he's moved from the ultra-right, he's moved towards the middle now, which is good. And he said this week in a speech, we're starting a war on the poor. This is a conservative Republican. We are starting a war on the poor, and this isn't right. This guy, not because he said this, is presidential timber, in my opinion. It may be 8 or 10 years before his name's up there because he's still young. But he'll make a mark. He has been making a mark. One of the reasons he's so concerned about poverty also is because of Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland is one of the 10 largest cities in the United States. One of the 10 largest cities in the United States. More than 50% of the children in Cleveland live on poverty. That's the way it is. Let's talk about Walmart now, and this ties into the poverty picture also, welfare, and etc. Walmart announced Tuesday, and everyone got excited, that they were going to promote from within 25,000 employees. Wonderful. Nice that they're doing. They're the biggest employer, I think, in the United States. And maybe the most profitable corporation in the United States. They are run extremely well when it comes to the dollar. They have 160,000 employees nationwide, and they said, we're going to give these are the hourly people, we're going to give these people a raise. We're going to give 160,000 people a raise. They don't pay them much money an hour, by the way. This is a $10, $12 an hour place. But we're going to give everybody a raise, 160,000 people in 1 year. They don't even do it today, in 1 year. Now, Business Week, reputable magazine, said recently in an article, Walmart does not pay a living wage to their employees. Wait till I give you the bottom line. Does not pay a living wage to their employees. Not because they are unable to do so, they're so profitable, but because they are unwilling to do so. They could still make the hourly better and still have a ton of money left over, a real ton of money afterwards, but they refuse to do it. There was a report made by Congress back in May, and this report said, or asked, how do people who work for Walmart live? How do people who work for Walmart live if Walmart is not paying them enough money to survive, them and their families? Turns out many Walmart employees are on public assistance, some form of welfare. So they work at Walmart's, make 10 bucks, 12 bucks an hour, can't survive on it, for example, with a family of 4, have to go on partial welfare to make it, okay? And as an example was a store, a supercenter in Wisconsin, where the employees who were on public assistance were having to take in, we're grabbing from the government, just under $1 million a year in public assistance. They're working full-time for Walmart. They're getting paid their wage, 10, 12 bucks an hour, can't make it. They are also receiving close to $1 million in public assistance to survive. Not right. The rich get richer, Walmart, the poor get poorer. And you know who pays that public assistance? You and me. It comes out of whoever can pay a tax in this country today, and it isn't the rich. The rich do not pay taxes. The poor, the formal middle class, they still pay taxes. This country is not run on tax monies from the rich. We've heard a lot about the National Security Agency and their surveillance. They're tapping everybody's phone, they're monitoring phones, which I guess is less than taping. We know now that our telephones are in effect bugged in the United States, everyone, and our emails are being monitored. They have copies of our telephone calls and our emails. I think it's wrong. I had a show on this about 2 years ago, And I said, you give a little bit away today of your privacy, of your independence, of your freedom from the government, and tomorrow it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're in trouble in this country. And it's gotten so big now. Now we know they tap everybody's phone, they tap everybody's emails. Wrong. And they're doing it also, as we know, with foreign governments and heads of governments, and I'm going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Right now, I want to limit the bugging of Pope Francis's telephone and his emails, and of the cardinals who were in Rome for the conclave and the hierarchy of the Vatican. Would you believe that our government is monitoring the phone calls and emails of Pope Francis for several weeks before he became Pope and since he became Pope? This makes me laugh. I'm going to tell you something. Because when we had the pedophilia scandal in this country, and the priests were doing what they shouldn't do 15, 20 years ago, okay? The police were reluctant to bug the telephones of a priest. You just didn't do it. Here, our government's doing it to everybody, including the old Pope and the new Pope and the people working in the Vatican. They're also monitoring the Vatican Bank. Telephone calls, emails. The Vatican Bank's in trouble. They're a big bank. They're involved with a lot of money. Our government follows every transaction, every telephone call, etc. of the Vatican. Now, let me give you a statistic, because numbers really speak out. From December 10th last year to January 8th, 1 month, okay? And this came from, what I'm going to tell you, Christome. It's a website that deals with intelligent materials, respected, Christome. They said in that 1 month period, the United States, our government, intercepted 46 million telephone calls in Italy. Just telephone calls I'm talking about. 46 million telephone calls in Italy in 1 month. I ask you, what do they do with all these telephone calls? They don't have sufficient people to listen to every call. It's impossible. They're just taking them, and they're leaving them someplace, and they have codes by which they can get into them, depending on the person and so forth. But it's wrong. We're bugging 46 million people. Their telephone calls in 1 month in Italy. We should be ashamed, because I'm going to tell you, even though governments bug other governments, they don't bug the people. I believe Italy is bugging our president and our congressmen and everything else, and our military, because governments do this with each other. I can't believe Italy is bugging everyone's telephone calls or everyone's emails in the United States. What does the NSA say, the National Security Agency who's doing all this tapping? They issued a statement the next day. We don't do that. I don't believe them. And why don't I believe them? There were articles written a couple of months ago, before we had these other revelations involving the NSA, that the heads of the NSA, when they're called before Congress in past years, put under oath and swear to tell the truth, have lied about bugging. They've said, no, we don't bug these people. No, we don't bug this person. I don't believe them. And you can't believe them on a stack of Bibles, because it's already been proven that they lie. And this is what's happening here. Not nice stuff. And we're going to break very shortly, and when we return, I'm going to talk a little bit more about bugging, especially Merkel, Angela Merkel from Germany. I'm going to talk about a couple of problems of Obamacare, and we'll get into some other things. So stay with me. I shall return.